Once upon a time, Humpty and Dumpty sat on the wall, the symbols of great power and all. Then, on one tragic September day, Humpty and Dumpty had a great fall. The dust and dirt were on the street. Still, 1 year later, I could not sleep. Dirt? I'm looking for the dirt. I'm looking for the weapons of mass destruction.
This one is to the U.S. President. Mr. President.
Can find armos de mass distractions. Really, I have a mission, I'm looking for it, and it's important. If you have any idea, you let me know. Okay, can you tell me where the weapons of mass destruction is?
In your country.
In my country? I'm looking for weapons of mass destruction around here. Do you have any weapons of mass destruction? Hi, can I have 2 weapons of mass destruction? Yep. Alright. You sure it's not here?
No.
Okay.
Definitely.
Excuse me. Hi. Sorry. ¿Puede decirme dónde hay armas de mass destrucción?
A la noche.
Noche? Noche is night.
Night.
A la noche.
A la night.
At night I can find it. A la noche.
All Americans. Idealism. Let me ask you a question first now.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the election?
On the election?
Yeah.
Well, you see, our country, like, is going off God Almighty. And God Almighty, He like courage.
Why is that?
He knew. He had time to stop it. And he didn't. He had to have known.
What were his motivations for letting it happen?
Fear. He wanted us all to be sheep.
Yeah.
Weapons of mass distortion. That's what it's all about.
What do you mean by that? Weapons of mass distortion. What
He's
is he
using
distorting?
this whole thing to distort reality so he can go kill people.
Why does he want to kill people?
Because he likes power. He wants to change the world. He thinks he's got ideas. We can just go around the world, give democracy to people.
What do you think about Iran?
They're good people. I don't know them. I just wish we weren't there killing them.
So where are the weapons of mass destruction?
They don't, there weren't any. He's now going to be resuming his position in the Oval Office, unfortunately.
Right, yeah, so
that is the weapon of mass destruction. It's George W. Bush and his evil empire.
How about you? Okay, what is the message?
The message is to support President Bush, to support the war in Iraq. The message is basically clear that America is not an evil empire, that America is a good country,
Well, why
a
is that
noble country.
you bombed Iraq? You bombed them.
Look, I'm not going to get into a whole argument why you bomb, because
Right,
you're not...
okay, can I ask you a
why are you putting the camera? Get the camera out of my face.
Can you tell me, sir, what's your name and where you're from?
I'm Ben Musanzi wa Musangu, originally from DR Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, but living today in Bradford, in England.
Can you tell me, please, where are the weapons of mass destruction?
Sorry?
Where are the weapons of mass destruction?
Oh, that is a big question. The weapon of mass destruction is everywhere. Everywhere.
My name's Colin Archer. I'm the General Secretary of the International Peace Bureau.
So where are those weapons of mass destruction?
Well, if you want to talk about nuclear weapons, there are 8 or maybe 9 countries. There are the 5 official states, that's to say US, Russia, China, UK and France. And then the non-recognized weapon states, nuclear weapon states, that's to say Israel, India, Pakistan and North Korea. Chemical weapons are stored in many, many countries around the world, and we suspect that biological weapons also. However, in the absence of a system with verification, with biological weapons there is no verification yet. There is no agreement to have a verification system. We don't know how many countries have weapons.
Even if there had been evidence of some sort that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, we would not have supported a war to disarm. We don't believe that killing people is an effective means to disarmament. You know, it goes against our principles.
Can you tell me where are the weapons of mass destruction?
Well, we certainly know in Britain that the weapons of mass destruction are very strongly located within the UK. It's a submarine nuclear weapon system called the Trident system. There are 4 submarines which, taken together with all the missiles and warheads located on them, have the capacity to repeat Hiroshima and Nagasaki hundreds, perhaps thousands of times over. But we have a special concern at the moment, which is that we believe that our government, together with the US government, is working to develop new nuclear weapons which will have the purpose of actually being used in further wars. I don't know if you're familiar with the US Nuclear Posture Review, which talks about, well, it basically it moves away from the idea of having nuclear weapons as a deterrent, which no one will ever use, towards the idea that they are actually there to be used, and you would use them first, and even you would use them against a non-nuclear weapons state. So it's quite shocking developments.
Absolutely. I mean, there are double standards at play here. America has hundreds of nuclear warheads, and yet it is willing to impose sanctions on India and Pakistan because they've managed to develop one warhead. They believe that nuclear weapons in the hands of unstable regimes, politically or economically unstable regimes, is a dangerous thing for the rest of the world. So it's all right for France to have nuclear weapons. It's okay for America to have nuclear weapons. It's okay for the Russians to have hundreds and hundreds of warheads, for the Chinese to have nuclear weapons, for Israel to have a bomb. But anyone else on top of that, particularly a regime like Saddam Hussein's, which had a history of using weapons of mass destruction, chemical weapons were used against, he dropped chemical bombs on his own people in Halabja. He used chemical weapons in the Iran-Iraq war. That is something that George Bush, Tony Blair, and other countries in the West aren't happy with.
Put it up.
So what would you tell the president if you could speak to him right now?
I'll tell him, no war.
What do you say to war? What do you say to death and destruction? What do you say to peace? We reject the notion that there has been any evidence presented that justifies in any way military action in Iraq. We've heard the case, and the case has not been made. We say stop the war, and you will not go to war in the name of the true patriots of America, not in our name.
And as Eleanor Roosevelt said, it isn't enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it. It isn't enough to believe in it. One must work at it. And we here today are working at it.
President Bush doesn't strike me as someone who's ever listened.
I hope they're listening,
I really do. I would hate for it to turn like the 60s where people who want peace end up getting hurt and arrested. This is supposed to be the home of the free and the brave, and I don't feel really free today, and I don't feel really brave today. I feel very scared.
All of the oil wells in Iraq is not worth one drop of innocent blood that President Bush wants to shed. How can you look at the tens of thousands of people here, Mr. Bush, and say that you are trying to protect freedom? You preach about homeland security, but this is our home, and this is our land. This is the land of the people that get up and work every day. And we didn't work to send our children to foreign shores to protect oil interests. We work to have freedom and liberty and civil rights at home.
Once again, question. Nothing they find. So, who has the presence of mind, Mr. President? The rules are blatantly undefined. As a red, white, and blue, you can't leave behind the threat that blows from the east wind. Weapons of mass destruction, wrapped in kimchi flavor.
How long have you been working or living in Iraq for?
In the last year and a half, I have been there 11 months.
Can you tell me where are the weapons of mass destruction?
No, nobody has found weapons of mass destruction. While I was there, I talked to scientists who were being interrogated, and they insisted we don't know of any, and yet they were detained, they were treated badly, they were, not tortured as far as I know, but it was very difficult for them, and so far nobody has found any. So I don't believe there is any there.
Are our leaders becoming terrorists in their own right? I think it's not enough to say that. That does not explain things. There are things being done in our name which I think we should all be ashamed of.
If you had something to say to George Bush, what would it be?
I think it would be just to be humble. I think that's the simplest thing that you can say to him. It's a very difficult thing to say to an American president, but he needs to be humble because there's a lot that all of these people in all these places have got to offer to everybody. No matter what atrocities one hears about or sees or whatever, one should always remember that the Islamic faith is one of the most hospitable and welcoming and warming faiths that you can ever imagine. And we should not forget that. In amongst everything else, we should not forget that.
Well, we're all in danger because the use of nuclear weapons could threaten the entire planet. Because nowadays the power of the hydrogen bombs, the largest, most powerful weapons ever made, can destroy whole cities. And the danger is that then is an escalation of violence that could destroy thousands of cities. There's something wrong with all our priorities when we have millions of innocent people dying of hunger, of AIDS, of preventable diseases, smallpox, typhoid, malaria, and spending nearly $1,000 million every year on weaponry and on the military. It's an obscene situation, and we call on everyone to stand up and speak out and get organized.